Let's talk to Chris in Kentucky. Chris, thanks for calling. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Alex, how you doing?
Good. Go ahead.
I tell you what, you're absolutely right about all this, Ferguson. This control of everything is going on out here. The mindset. When are people going to start manning up out here and get real and start getting information? We had back in March of 2014 this specimen here in Louisville. You know what happened? You know, these people out here, these teenagers act up. Oh, they're going to raid the streets. They're tearing up the convenience stores. We had that in March 2000. Guess what? Mayor Fisher in Louisville, Kentucky, I'm going to say your name, buddy. You got federal ID cams with your digital information about you that everybody's terrorist. I am sick and tired of this country going down the drain. I'm sick of it, Alex, and these people are getting to be zombies out here. I'm so angry. I'm sorry.
Well, I appreciate your call. It's good to hear from you. It is bad. The borders are wide open while the NSA watches everything we do illegally. The TSA, it came out in public documents last week confirming that they let illegals fly without IDs. You can come in or leave the country. Oh, you're an illegal? You're Hispanic? You're above the law. Oh, we're going to make the schools go Spanish only now. Oh, red carpet, everything's free. Again, to drive down the wages. And then to make it if you're against open borders while you're against Hispanics. Well, I can't go to Mexico and get everything free. And I know a lot of the illegals are working very hard as well. The point is, our wages are going down. The country's collapsing. Latin America's collapsing. We can't take all these people. And then all these different racial groups are just played off against each other. Let's go back to the phone calls here. Rob. Rob is calling from FEMA Region 10. I guess that's the West Coast somewhere. Are you in Oregon or Washington or Idaho? What former state under FEMA are you calling us from?
Former state of Oregon, Alex. Always a pleasure to talk to you. It's to the point to the last caller, the zombies out there, and it's fantasy football time, and all the men, like you said, are sitting around tables. And here's a good analogy for them. Last year, when the Broncos dang near ran the table, almost won the whole deal, fell apart in the Super Bowl, and everyone's crushed. 2 weeks, they're devastated. What if you found out that Peyton Manning actually played on the other team? And that's the analogy to what's going on here in the U.S.
Yes. The sports and all of it is deployed to where you've got the owners and you've got the generals that are the coaches and you've got it's all tribal garbage designed to manipulate people. And it's worked great. The average man is not a man. All they care about is the fantasy world of sports, while the globalists literally take the world away from them. That's how the men of the West had their huevos chopped off. And I'm telling you, the average American, if you told them you can't watch football unless you go in and have surgery and have your testicles cut off, and I'm not joking, they would go and have them chopped off because they don't care about their wives, their kids, nothing. They care about the fantasy of watching men on TV in simulated combat. But they don't count. The globalists did all that to make them spectators and not exist and be nobodies. Just ignore them, let them giggle at us and wear their sports jerseys. We need to move on to find real men that care. There's a lot more of us than there are on the globalist side. And again, I'm not putting you down if you have a sports cap or a jersey. If it's your God, if you worship it, if it's all you care about, if you're not involved in other issues, it's just pathetic. It's like people that are into hip-hop gangster rap. I mean, literally deployed by the psych warfare generals. You are chumps. You are fools. You are idiots. Anything else, Rob?
Yeah, it's just the analogy can be used to maybe wake up that side of it. And that's the one thing that might get them emotionally involved in this. Like, imagine how you felt there. This is real life. And
well, there is hope. There is hope because Helen Keller couldn't speak or hear. And she could be taught to, write very interesting books. But they've got to want to come out of the trance. They've got to want to come out of it. And a lot of them never will. No matter when things collapse, they won't care. They'll serve the other side. It's what they do. Sherry in Texas, go ahead. Thanks for holding.
Thank you, Alex. Listen, it's been said that totalitarianism expresses itself anonymously through the corporate state, but I can think of a couple other incidences where it expresses itself, and one of them is the police, this militia-like method of operation where they have to take away the documentation or not allow it. I know there was a little gal on 24 Action News that said she had a little ponytail, pom-pom ponytail, and she said, I had a picture. I was videotaping Michael Brown and his friend walking across the street when the police car drove up, and they took away my camera. They took away my cell phone, rather, and I felt just a sinking feeling inside. That's the damage controlled, and then
Sure. And again, the local cops don't know it, but it was allowed to go as bad as possible to beta test martial law. Even though all this footage showed the cop told the truth, the evidence is leaning that direction big time. They didn't release any of it because the feds told them not to. And the feds gave them the tanks and the armored vehicles and the training. And then Obama comes and says, I'm going to investigate militarization of police. That's like Al Capone saying, I'm going to investigate the Chicago Mafia. Or Hitler saying he's going to investigate the Nazi Party. So yes, they attacked our reporters. They attacked other reporters. It was a horrible display, and it was all contrived by the globalists.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. Today I'd like to talk about the war on women. You've experienced and heard about the benefits of super male vitality. Now, the new formula has arrived. Introducing the new Super Female Vitality. I have specifically designed this formula to help the body naturally regulate itself without the use of artificial hormones. Key ingredients chosen from the highest quality sources. Each of these ingredients works synergistically with the female body in order to maximize overall vitality. You've heard the reviews and the feedback on how the original Super Male Vitality has revitalized relationships. Now, both the man and the woman can have the revitalization in their own bodies with Super Male Vitality and Super Female Vitality. Secure your Super Female Vitality today from our limited stock at InfoWarsLife.com.
Andrew in Pennsylvania, you're on the air worldwide. Go ahead.
Yeah, about Snowden and the NSA. First of all, with all due respect to Dr. Steve Pieczenik, Snowden is not a double agent. Voice analyst Sherry Edwards, who can analyze voices just like you can analyze body language, has made it clear that Snowden in his voice is honest and cares about humanity. And in regards to his holy...
But sure, even responding to that only puts it back out there. Look, regardless, all this NSA stuff's pretty much already come out before. Through a whole bunch of other whistleblowers. So the point is they are illegally spying on us. That's the issue, not who Snowden really is.
Right. And in regards to that revelation he said is coming, is it possible as a contractor, you wonder, does he have info about how the NSA, as Alfred Weber of Exopolitics TV talked about, has the ability to track and monitor you through your bodily light emissions that you can't normally see?
Sure, that was patented 20 years ago, and it's hooked into the satellites now. Off of your heat residence, off the top of your head and shoulders, they have a biometric print tracking you in real time, face scanning cameras. Most of the spying's done by the 860-something thousand private contractors that use the data in economic espionage, destroying the free market. But the larger revelation is going to be blackmail of Congress. That's already come out with MI6 blackmailing Parliament. It's blackmail, and that a large members of Congress are pedophiles, and that's come out in England as well, and that they're using the pedophile data to control them.
Yeah, that's right. And is it possible that contractor Snowden, as some whistleblowers have said, but he can't really be proven, that the NSA has cooperated with NASA to use spacecraft and bases on the moon, among other things?
Well, I know this. They're about 30 years advanced what they say. I've known quite a few NASA engineers and astronauts we've interviewed, Buzz Aldrin and others, and I've had private conversations with Buzz Aldrin a couple times. But I knew Raymond Teague, who died last year, God rest his soul, earlier this year, a good friend of mine. He's famously in the film Mission Control, Frontline, controlling the cameras on the moon. He controlled the cameras on Skylab and the space shuttle after that. And he said, no, they were on the moon. But he couldn't talk about the other classified stuff. He just said there's a lot of stuff the public wasn't allowed to see. And that's why you saw fake photos and stuff. Just like you Photoshop something for your business to make it look better, they couldn't get the photos back because of radiation. Digital cameras hadn't been invented yet, so they dolled up some photos. That's where all the conspiracies come from. I appreciate your call. Let's go ahead and talk to Julio in Wyoming. Julio, you're on the air.
Aloha, Alex. It's a total life change from Chicago to Wyoming. It's so beautiful seeing people with open carry and actually caring about their freedoms out here. It's beautiful.
That's right. For all the negative things that are happening, there's an opposite and equal reaction under Newtonian physics. There is a giant awakening happening, but it's a race to the finish line. We're in the fight. We have to decide, though, is the empire on the march or are we on the march?
100%. And watching CBS Chicago drudge link to this about ISIS attacking Chicago. Mark my words, Alex, it's going to be similar to 9/11. I'm reading documents from Homeland Security and the FBI talking about domestic extremists going to attack government buildings, or domestic extremists in San Antonio are going to attack emergency officials. I'm going to tell you this, Alex. I have a feeling when an attack happens, not if, but when, it's going to be ISIS with domestic extremists going after the evil U.S. government.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no, you're absolutely right. They said 2 years ago, Army War College stuff came out claiming, this was in mainstream news, that Tea Party, I mean, I made a big deal about it at the time because it was so ridiculous. I probably talked about it 100 times. That's where I came up with the saying, it's like Superman joining the Legion of Doom. The Tea Party is the most Islamophobic group out there. God bless them. I'm not Islamophobic, but I am radical Islamophobic. I am globalist phobic. I am tyranny phobic. I am chop women and children's heads off phobic. I am anybody in black uniforms torturing people phobic, whether it be the CIA or the ISIS scum. And yes, they conflate and they mix together. ISIS is going to hit Chicago and going to hit police and firemen and firefighters any minute, and domestic extremists. So they wedge that in, getting it ready. And absolutely, it doesn't care if it's not true. They're claiming Assad's with al-Qaeda when he's been fighting al-Qaeda and ISIS. And they'll probably say, I'm with them. I mean, hell, excuse me. We could play the clip of MSNBC saying that I influenced the Boston bombers and that I was deeply racist. That story had nothing to do with race. With no proof, my lawyer said, yes, you can win a lawsuit, but it'll take years. Is that what you want to spend your time on? I mean, they said I'm behind it. Just absolutely Fruit Loop, off the wall, crazy town. It's like saying Little Red Riding Hood's the wolf. I mean, it is just 180-degree certified fraud. But yeah, I mean, they might say Ron Paul's behind it. I mean, the sky's the limit. They say Iran's behind al-Qaeda. When Iran backs Hezbollah and other countries back Hamas. I appreciate your call. Good to hear from you. Great points. Let's go ahead and talk to Don in Houston, Texas. You're on the air.
Three things, Alex. You might want to write them down. The first question I have for you, Mr. Jones, is prove our government funds al-Qaeda. And then number two, can you tell us about Michael Aquino, the former head of the NSA, National Security Agency? And then three, I'd like to fly over there to California and meet David and crew, and where and how could I do that?
Well, I can't get on air and tell you where our crew is going to be exactly because I don't even know. We're going to be, David Knight's going to be on air tomorrow here with us, and then we're going to send some reporters out there. I was saying who'd be on air tomorrow with the daily weekday show. I appreciate your call. You're saying prove. I mean, I could take the rest of the show and have them. Oh, you have proof. Because, I mean, it's on record that they set up al-Qaeda in the 79s as Zbigniew Brzezinski. It's on record. Saudi Arabia protects them. It's on record. Al-Qaeda in Iraq changed their name to ISIS or IS. I thought you were saying you want me to prove it. You go ahead and prove it. Yeah, I thought he said he wants me to prove it, or did he want to prove it? Because it says that on screen he wanted to prove it. Let's go ahead and move along now since he hung up. Let's go ahead and talk to Bob in Texas. I mean that's just like saying prove the Atlantic Ocean exists. Our government funded the rebels. The main rebel group was al-Qaeda, is al-Qaeda. They changed their name. And they even endorsed al-Qaeda in the Council on Foreign Relations, saying why we need al-Qaeda last year in a headline. And they funded the Muslim Brotherhood to overthrow other areas like Egypt. And they used al-Qaeda out of Saudi Arabia into Benghazi in the east of Libya to overthrow that country. I mean, that's who they're using. So there's your proof. Let's go ahead and, I mean, even Rand Paul said we shouldn't be al-Qaeda's Air Force. Senator Cruz. This is a well-known thing. It's like proving that Dale Earnhardt is a champion NASCAR driver. I don't need to prove it. I've proven it 18,000 times here on air. I've made films about it, if that's what you were saying. Maybe I missed what you were saying. Bob in Texas, go ahead.
You've done a wonderful job of waking people up, Alex, and hope they wake up from this show. I have a perfect question for you today, given the earthquake in California, and also preparations being made by FEMA in the New Madrid fault area, and the documented increase in seismic activity all over the earth. Do you think there's a possible connection between a natural catastrophe and a reason for them to create the terrorism as a cover to get control of the population before a natural catastrophe?
Well, they could use a naturally occurring natural disaster as the cover to get more control, a power grab, mission creep. Secretary of Defense William Cohen in 2008 April issue of Army Times gave a press conference. They covered it, saying that we do have earthquake weapons. And that's now been in mainstream news. I don't know how advanced they are. I don't know if that's true, but they say they have them. Or are you saying they know a big natural disaster is coming, they're getting martial law ready for that? Which one of those are you saying?
I'm saying that they probably know that there is a natural calamity coming because of the increase in seismic and volcanic activity.
Yeah, I'll cover that when we come back. That's a good point. Well, the National Weather Service admits that in the last 19 years, the world had stopped heating up, and the planet goes through different sun-based cycles. The UN promptly had a vote 5 years ago to just say the sun does not affect climate. That's like saying that water isn't wet. Well, now it's being reported Montana, Wyoming brace for cold, snow, cold temperatures, while much of the U.S. sizzles. Here's another headline. Cold summer, U.S. daily record minimums outnumbering record maximums 3-1 in the last 30 days. But don't worry, treehugger.com has an article about a man to live on a melting iceberg for 1 year to urge climate change action. And, of course, they go and find an iceberg. Giant ones break off the southern and northern pole by the tens of thousands every year that has beached itself along a coastline, and then they're supposed to melt. Sometimes they drift all the way up to the equator from Antarctica on the bottom of the earth, down by Chile. They'll drift thousands of miles up into the coastline of Brazil. It'll be 105 degrees, and why, here comes a giant iceberg. And then I can go out and sit on it and literally sun on the iceberg while watching girls in bikinis on the shore and go, my gosh, look, it's melting. Why, look at those glaciers. They're collapsing into the water. That's what glaciers do. It rains, and then the snow and the ice moves in glacial flows to the sea, and the warmer sea makes it break up, and they collapse. That's what and then they get bigger in the winter, smaller in the summer. The ice caps expand and contract, but the public, again, only knows how to put on makeup or act trendy or go to fantasy football or check their Facebook update. And so the globalists are taking big-time advantage of you. It's like Al Gore putting out videos that penguins and stuff can't swim. Oh, the poor penguin's going to drown. Oh, the polar bear, look, it's swimming out to an ice floe because everything melted. No, they hunt whales on the ice floes. That's when they get big and fat during the summer. Beluga whales, they kill them. But it doesn't matter. I'm a conspiracy theorist, okay? Why, they get on the news and say we've got to pass carbon taxes because all the polar bears are dying. Doesn't matter our own government's numbers are. Their numbers are up 5-fold from the 1950s. Facts don't matter. 2 + 2 = 4 is a conspiracy theory. Obama says you didn't build your business, and raising the debt ceiling doesn't raise the debt, and you can keep your doctor under Obamacare even though you can't, and it's going to cut your premiums in half at least to the price of a cable bill or phone bill. It doesn't matter if that's all lies. Just call me a conspiracy theorist, and that makes you intellectually cool. You don't have to have any facts with people that have more facts than you. Just say I'm a liar. Alex Jones here to break down some exciting developments in the area of research concerning supplemental iodine. It's nothing less than phenomenal. I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. And I used some of the mainline iodine supplements, and they upset my stomach, and I had some issues with it. Until I discovered a product being developed by Dr. Group, who I was already interviewing as an expert on my radio show, and I began taking the product before he actually rolled it out. You now know it as Survival Shield True Nascent Iodine that your body can really absorb. Then, about a year ago, he said, listen, if you think this is powerful, I'm going to come out with rare earth, deep earth crystals that are incredibly powerful that no one else has as a source for their iodine from between 7,000 and 12,000 feet, literally drilled out of the ground. You put it on a hot plate, and it turns into the pure gas. No one else has 99.99% pure iodine. And the results that I personally have had have been life-changing. I was over 270 pounds. And with the iodine, exercise, and better diet, I have lost now more than 50 pounds total, and I'm continuing to lose the weight. I have more energy, my libido, all this crap came out of my skin. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. And I know this for a fact. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. This is innovating. This is trailblazing. And the best part is it helps fund Infowars.com, the radio show, the TV show, the whole media operation promoting true libertarian ideas. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off Super Detox special at InfoWarsLife.com.